good, yeah? Yeah. What we asked David to do, and by we asked David to do, David told us, we want to take the last half and really have you guys engage in question and answer. We're going to ask him questions as well. But one of the things that so come on up, David, come on up. Maurice, come on, we're gonna grill. We can stand here as well. But one of the things I always find interesting is when David talks about social proof, how many people will hear that and then they will not know how to actually translate that. So let me give you an example. I had a conversation with a wedding DJ this past week, and he says, oh, I get it, I'm totally into that social proof. I'm social media like crazy. I'm like, awesome, let's go check out your sites. So we go to his Twitter account. He had 17 followers, and he hadn't tweeted in 3 months. That is not social proof. So I go, okay, we're going to your Facebook page. We go to his Facebook page, and there was like 72 likes, nobody talking about it, and hadn't posted in a month. So we go to his LinkedIn account. It was one post. Then we went to his YouTube account, and his entire channel had 6 views. Is that social proof? No. He should not be wanting people to ask him the question, why me? Right? Do you guys see the difference? When somebody goes to David's social proof, he's got 1,000 LinkedIn endorsement. You go to his YouTube channel, the guy actually numbers every single testimonial. Now I don't know if he actually has hundreds of testimonials because they're all numbered in the hundreds. I'd like to see number 1. Right?
Really? I learned something!
Exactly. You know, like, yeah.
Starting to feel more like a roast.
This is actually true. One of my consulting clients is a plumbing company, and they have something like 7 or 8 vans. So what we actually did was we actually numbered the vans, but we numbered them 1, 9, 17, and like 32. And then on the other side of the van, they had a different set of numbers. So depending on where you went in town, you think these guys have tons of vans. Competition, baby, competition.
That's awesome.
So, with that,
now that's effective overnoting.
there you go. Awesome. So, Maurice, I'm going to let you start and ask David the first question. We're going to kind of just pound David with questions. I know, Dick, you had a question. Your hand was raised.
No, but I want to ask you something. If you needed another book, we already have a copy.
No, we'll keep it. So we're going to spend some time just asking David some questions and engaging in a conversation. This is your chance to engage with him as well. So if something said that makes sense or you have questions for him, I want to hear the nitty-gritty. So, Dick, I'll let you ask the same first question. Can we have Dick do the same first question?
Whichever. Well, I'm ready with the question.
When you asked me if I raised my hand, yes, I did raise my hand as you were speaking. You were talking about exposure and its effectiveness. I grew up in Burbank. This is the media center of the world. I used to get dates because I looked like Ricky Nelson.
So, celebrity impersonation.
So, I'd like to do another. I want to give you guys some more stuff. Can you guys some more stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so can I take a second to get some more things?
Far be it.
Let me just give them some more things, and if you have some questions, great. If they have some questions, great. And if you guys have some good questions, I'll get out some more of these books. Is that good?
Yeah.
If you have you gotta have a good question. Okay. Now, some people will get up here and they'll tell you, "Hey, there's no such thing as a bad question." That's not true. I get them all the time. There are bad questions. How many people here have heard of bad questions? They do exist, all right? You guys are an advanced group. Let's take it to the next level here. I'm gonna expect a little more out of you, all right? So let's have some good questions here. But let me just give you a couple things. Casey, you're a big fan of the fan funnel mind maps. How many people have some of my mind maps? Okay, so that's a good thing to give away here.
Okay,
So,
can I brag about this?
go ahead.
I'm actually just so irritated.
I just want to give them to them for free. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so I totally meant to tell you guys this, and I completely forgot because I was all Twitter-pated and getting to give David another introduction. So the way I met David Fagan was actually really interesting. Any of you know a guy by the name of Davin Michaels, 1-2-3 employee? Okay, Davin's one of my best friends. He'll be a speaker with us sometime later in the year. Davin calls me and he goes, dude, I'm speaking at this little event. Will you come and take notes on my presentation to help me out? I'm like, sure. So I go to this presentation. There were 11 people in the room, so it was really a small event. And it was kind of one of the first kind of speaking things I had ever gone to. And David spoke. And David was talking about these mind maps. And I'm not a big mind map person, but I know they have all kinds of different things where you can do mind maps and create stuff. But David, did you bring the fan funnel?
Yeah, I brought it up.
Okay.
Smaller ones.
Okay, so David came out, and at the end of his presentation, it was probably the most effective thing I've ever seen a speaker do. He had these 4-foot by 4-foot pieces of paper with what I thought was basically his entire presentation on paper in a way that I could actually understand it. And he called them his mind maps. You can actually go to his site, mindmapfunnels. Is it mindmapfunnel?
No, it's fanfunnelmindmaps.com.
Fanfunnelmindmaps.com. I'm sure it's listed on the bottom of this, right?
No. Perfect. No, I want them to write it down.
Okay.
So it's fanfunnelmindmaps.com. Fanfunnelmindmaps.com.
Okay, so this was actually one of them that you're getting today. This was one that he talked about, and you're going to go through this a little bit, right?
Maybe if we have time.
If we have time, he'll go through this. But it basically talked about at the top of the funnel, you need impressions, and the more impressions you have, drops down to an introduction. An introduction may be like a Facebook interaction, where you join a meetup group. Then it goes to an actual connection. It deepens the relationship. Then it finally goes to an audience, and then finally it falls out the bottom in dollar bills. I gotta tell you, I saw him do this presentation. He laid these on the counter, and then he made a grave mistake. And that mistake was, he said, if any of you would like these, you may have them. I almost broke my leg because I thought everybody in the room, I thought he was so mesmerizing, I thought everybody in the room was literally gonna rush him like he's Justin Bieber. Or maybe run from him like he's Justin Bieber. But, so I literally went up and I got 2 of them, and I thought they were so valuable that to this day, I had them laminated and they're up in my office. And so I have every one of these mind maps up on my wall in my office laminated. So what you're getting today is hugely valuable, and that's how I met David Fagan. So they're awesome. That's my name.
Thank you. So you give a speaker just a little power. So there's 6 different mind maps that we use. I will tell you really quickly about one of them that I think you guys might benefit from the most. And that is launching. We're always launching new projects, launching maybe a website, launching a presentation. You know, we're launching all these things. Maybe we're launching a new business. And there's 5 C's to launching. Okay, 5 C's to getting a project all the way through. So the very first one is concept. What's the concept? What's the idea? So if you're starting a business, so what's the concept or idea of your business? What's special about it? What's unique about it? You know, how are you different than the competition? You know, that's your concept, all right? That's your secret sauce. Okay, that's what makes you special. The next one is collection. Okay, we start collecting things. We might collect pictures. We might collect videos. We might collect testimonials. You know, we might collect information. We might collect research. Okay, we might collect images. We might collect all kinds of things. After we collect, the third C is create. Now that we've collected, now we can create something with all the things that we've collected. Now we can create that website. Now we can maybe create that business. Now we can create that presentation, you know, whatever it is. The next one after that is campaigning. Now that we have it, now we can go tell the world about it. Okay? We do that through affiliates. We do it through social media. We do it through advertising. All right? And then the last one is connection. So whatever that we put out there, did it work? Did we get good feedback? Did they like it? Did people interact? Did people buy? You know, did we get good surveys? So this 5-season launching, we do this a lot with clients when they come in. They say, hey, I've got a product. I want to launch this project to the community. Or, hey, I've got a new TV show. I've got a pilot. Hey, I've got a documentary. Or whatever it is. There's a certain amount of understanding the concept, collecting everything we need, to do it right, and then creating whatever it is we need to create, then going out and telling the world about it, and then really gauging that response. So that's another quick idea about some of these mind maps. And I put on 2-3 day events, week-long events. So obviously, yes, we're scrunching a lot of information to a very short amount of time. But the point is let's just give it to you as a gift. So if you go to fanfunnelmindmaps.com, you enter in your name and email, and it just all gets sent to you. Okay, fair enough?
Yeah.
Deal? Just trying to give you stuff. Okay. One other thing that I wasn't sure I was going to say in the beginning, but I'll say now. And this might not be a good thing for all of you guys, so I'm going to give kind of a disclaimer here. But next week, Thursday, February 6th, I'm doing a private Hollywood party, and it's called the Hollywood Entrepreneur Evening. And Trina McGee, who has been in a bunch of TV shows and movies. She's probably most famous for a television called Boy Meets World, which most of us here are too old to know too much about. Ask your kids. You ever heard Boy Meets World? Okay, so she'll be there, and she's actually just had a new show called Girl Meets World. She's in that. Her husband, Marcello Thedford, will also be there, a regular on Sons of Anarchy. He was in a movie with Dane Cook and Jessica Simpson called Employee of the Month, where he was somewhat of a hero. He's a security guard and that. He ends up being kind of a hero. Anyways, there'll be a handful of these people there. Another client of ours, we represent Marcelia Lucia. Is the daughter of Carmen off the George Lopez show. Anybody ever seen the old George Lopez show? They rerun it all the time. So the daughter of Carmen, her name is Marcelia Lucia. She should be there. Some of the Hollywood entertainment attorneys we represent, they'll be there. But it's going to be at Trina's studio gallery. So she's also a painter, and she's quite the entrepreneur, and they have all these different businesses. But she's a painter, and she has a gallery there, and so we're just doing kind of a private thing, networking people. If you feel comfortable in that setting, and if you would like to meet some of these kinds of people, then it's kind of similar size to this, and so we really can only have so many people there. But if you think you're a good fit for it, or tell me why you want to be in it. I kind of have to screen people a little bit and get them on there. But if you think you're a good fit and you would like it or you enjoy it, I want to open that up to you. Now, for those of you who don't understand what I'm saying, this is a big deal. What kind of deal is this? And if you believe that, you're in the business. You work at a network station. You're going to be there. You should probably be there. So, actually, Casey's saying no. No to Rick. Okay, no Rick? Okay. So how many people does that you would maybe want to know more about that you're curious about what I'm saying? Okay. Like I said, it's not for everybody. Some people might feel uncomfortable. This is a business thing. It's going from 6 to about 9-ish, maybe 10. This isn't like a. I'm sure there's going to be some music and there'll be food there. There's going to be people there. But if you're awkward or you make people like one of the celebrities we work with, and I'm not going to say who right now, she has a highly trained German attack dog, okay, German Shepherd attack dog. Like if you make people nervous, you probably don't want to be there. Okay? If you just think if you're looking for someone to stalk, all right, this isn't for you. I'm being serious. I'm telling you, I can tell you stories.
I'm sure you could.
But again, just out of show of hands, just curious. So you're going to come give me a business card. Caitlin, why don't you raise your hand? This is Caitlin Lindsay. She is the VP of PR at our office in Beverly Hills on Wilshire. She's the one who makes me and my clients look good. So, I come up with a lot of strategies and branding and whatever, but it's Caitlin who's actually contacting the media on my behalf and our client's behalf. She is the head publicist. She assigns out accounts to the other publicists. So you can give a card to her and say, hey, I'm interested. If you want to get on the list for some of these Hollywood events and stuff, we'll do that. So Caitlin's is a great person to know. She doesn't like to get up and talk in front of people, but talk about stalking, that is her job. It's her job to stalk the media.
So she's a professional.
Right. So what I do is I give her a hard time. And And this is when I know to back off. She says, David, I'm this close to getting a restraining order. If I call that embassy producer one more time, I will dare to file a restraining order. So that's when I know, okay, it's time to back off. So that's Caitlin Lindsay, good person to know all the context. So I'm gonna give you a chance to go to that. Is that good, by the way? I'm just trying to make sure I give you something. Everything you want to go. Do you know how you get fans, guys? You give, you serve, you share. You give, you serve, you share. You'll see it in my book, you'll see it in my presentations. I talk about it all the time. You got to do it strategically, but you give, you serve, and you share. That's how we get fans. Strategically, give, and serve, and share. So somebody, people come up to me, they're like, David, I don't get it. What's your angle? Like I'm plotting on people. Everybody's waiting for the catch, or whatever. Guys, the catch is I want fans, right? I want people that like Casey. We want people that are fans. We want people that are going to talk about us, right? So that leads to the law of multiplication. I'm talking about law of multiplication, and I'm going to open up to questions. And Casey and Maurice, especially, if they have some questions. There's something called the law of multiplication, and I talked about it in a book I wrote with J. Conrad Levinson. Anybody here know who J. Conrad Levinson is? He's the father of guerrilla marketing. Anybody ever heard of guerrilla marketing? Yeah. So he wrote the original guerrilla marketing book in 1984. Went on to write a few other books. I wrote a few books with them. Between me and him, we've sold about 22 million copies in 62 languages around the world. Okay? Now, who here heard what I said? Between me and him, now, he probably sold 21,900,000. Between me and him, we sold a lot. It's all about the position.
I caught that.
You caught that one? Okay. So, I got the chance to work with J. Conrad Levinson. He's the guy famous for working with Leo Burnett ad agency, who created all the iconic brands: Marlboro Man, Tony's Frosted Flakes, Jolly Green Giant, Lonely Maytag Salesman, Die Hard Battery, Charlie the Tuna, Morris the Cat. You get the idea. This is who was my mentor. Okay? This is my mentor. This is the guy I got the chance to spend a lot of time with. Unfortunately, he passed away this last October. Amazing man. I went back to Florida to do his eulogy. But he's an amazing man. And this is kind of what I'm talking about here, is the law of multiplication. We wrote a book on the law of multiplication because so many times as business people, you're dealing with one at a time, one-on-one. I'm going to talk to you about my business, find out about your business. We're going to see if we can make some good business together, okay? And I'm going to talk to you, and I'm going to talk to you. Okay, that's one-on-one. It's not very scalable. So we want things that are the law of multiplication. We want to create a message that will work multiple ways, multiple times, to multiple people. Who can think of an example of something that leverages the law of multiplication? Something that captures a message in multiple ways, multiple times, for multiple people. You do it once, but then it's out there for multiple times, multiple ways, multiple people. Yeah. Television, absolutely. You speak once on television, all these people are hearing about it. Okay? And I might even call that video. Okay? What's another example of multiplication?
Radio.
YouTube, yes.
My blog.
What?
The blog. My
A
blog.
blog, absolutely. Do it once, everybody can see it. What's that?
JV Partners.
What's that?
JV Partners.
JV Partners, webinar, radio. What'd you guys get here today? A book.
Email.
If you guys came to me and said, David, I hear you're an expert on just like cracking the icon code. I need some time with it. You should tell me. I'd have to tell you, and I'd have to tell you, and I'd have to tell you. Now it's just like, here's the book. I'm not telling you how to crack the icon code personally. You're taking the book, you're reading the book. Right? You want the largest megaphone out there. Oprah, how did she start? Radio. Not a bad way to go. She gambled, she risked, she did something a little bit different. She went on to TV, owning her own show, right? Bigger megaphone or smaller megaphone? Bigger megaphone. Now she reaches even more people, right? So you got to figure out, what's the megaphone going to be? What's the law of multiplication? So books, absolutely. Speaking, right here. If Casey said, David, I want you to drive across town in the rain, although it's only 11 miles from your office, it'll take you an hour and a half to get there, to speak to me and my good buddy, Rick Bloom, I would say, Casey, I love you to death, but I can't do it. Okay? I can't, it's not a good use of my time. I can't do that. But if you can put a bunch of people in a room, now it's worth my time. Because I'm only talking once up here. I won't explain everything once. But I've got 30, 40, 50 people that are all hearing it right now. And that's the law of multiplication. People look at me and they say, David, do you get all these things done? You know, you must be smarter, or have more money, or you have more time. Guys, I have less time probably than most people. You know, I didn't. I left school at the 11th grade. Okay, in 11th grade, I left high school. I'm not proud of that. I don't talk about it a lot. Sometimes it's more relevant than others. But I left high school in 11th grade. I did go back later on. I went to University of Phoenix for a little while, kind of customized education. But I didn't finish that either. Then in like 2003, 2004, I found out that if you made a certain amount of money and oversaw a certain amount of people, Harvard had special programs you could go to and take. So I actually applied, got into Harvard, and I went and took classes at Harvard. I took a class on negotiation. I took a class on how to deal with difficult people in difficult situations, because I knew I'd work in cases. So I have classes and courses I've taken at Harvard. I graduated from Harvard. You know, so I've customized my education. So guys, it's not my education. You know, my parents live in a nice apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. Great people, nicest people you've ever met in the world. You know, they've been married for about 40 years. I did not have a bad childhood. They told me I could do anything I wanted as long as I was willing to work for it. You know, I was the one that made my life harder by moving out at 16. But, you know, no one gave me any money either. So, you know, it's not that. What am I doing right now? Who knows what I'm doing right now? Yeah, all those things are true, but I'm doing something else that's more important.
Giving us the problem.
Guys, I'm taking away your excuses. This is what we do. We sit out there and we listen to a speaker. The natural thing is we listen to him and go, well, I can't do that. He probably has this, or, you know, he probably has that. And we make excuses. We want to find a chink in the speaker's armor. It's just the way we're wired. I do it sometimes too, and I got those voices in my head. I got to go, stop doing that. I mean, I'll just be sitting in church sometimes, and someone's just burying their soul, and I'm thinking, oh, they should have never said that. Oh, they should face it. What? They're just burying they're not a professional speaker. It's my judgmental idiocy that's inside my head. But I'm just telling you, this is the way we're wired. And what I'm doing right now is I want to take away your excuses. If you think that you can't do what I have done because I've got money, wrong, I haven't, I don't. If you think it's because I have some kind of fancy education, I don't, it does not exist. I customize my education, right? If you think it's because I'm terribly smart, Caitlin will tell you I'm not. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not being disingenuous here. Do I have a few things going for me? Sure, I can frame an idea. I understand how to communicate with people. I have a pretty good memory. Okay, so I do have some things going for me. I don't want to be disingenuous of it. One thing that drives me nuts about speakers and infomercials. Oh, I come to a country, I make $1 million, I don't even speak it. Come on, dude, seriously? You know, and it's really kind of disingenuous, right? Obviously, these people have done something right. But I want to take away your excuses. Guys, you think I have more time than you? I have 8 children. I'm not joking.
Did you guys hear that?
I have 8 children.
I hear the gasp that
No, I'm not trying to win any awards or anything like that. But what I am trying to do is do what? Take away your what?
Excuses.
Guys, I have 8 kids. The oldest is 16, youngest is 2. 16, 14, 12, 10. Just turned 9. 7, almost 8. 4, and it'll be 2 on February 12th. Okay? 4 boys, 4 girls. Starts off with 3 girls, and then goes 4 boys in a row, and has a girl at the very end. Okay? So, you know, I help coach my kids' sports team. I travel around the world speaking. You know, last year I was in Bangladesh and Dubai. You know, I've got a few companies. I'm writing books. I'm helping people grow their businesses. You know, I volunteer. You know, guys, I don't have any more time than you do. You don't have any more time than I do. We all have 24 hours a day and how many days in a week? Wow, you got to think about that for a second. You made me nervous for a second. I thought, oh my goodness. So we all have about the same amount of time. So it's a law of multiplication, guys. How is it that I get more done? How is it that Oprah does more? The people that are really doing the most with the least are the people that understand the law of multiplication. And the biggest way that it's a law of multiplication is having fans. I can try to go out and tell everybody how great I am, but wouldn't it be so much better if I had other people go out and tell me how great I am?
Yep.
I mean, number one thing, and I am great, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's what we want. One of the things that we track in our biggest and most is referral partners. We do a lot of things to get leads, we do a lot of things to get business, but we have people that refer us business. And that's the number one thing. How many people here say the number one way they get business is through referrals? That's the best way to do it. Okay, so it took me a little bit longer than I thought, or maybe it's just the time Casey took up. But now questions. Maurice, Casey, how are we doing so far? You got a good question, I'll give you a book. You got a question first?
Yeah,
Or-
I have a
okay,
question.
go ahead.
I read the book, Breaking the Diagram Code, and I really love your ICE acronym, influential, credibility, and exposure. I want to talk about exposure for this group. I get it, but I'm not at the capacity, or maybe we're not at the capacity for LCO, for PR person.
Yeah.
I want a running start. So what are some of the things I can do right now, grassroots, for my exposure, so that I can get the testimonials, I can get the credibility, I can get the influential. It seems like the exposure, or correct me if I'm wrong, that exposure is the first thing, and then it'll help me with the others. That's kind of like two questions in one.
Might be fair for them. But, okay, so, yeah, exposure for people just starting out. A couple things that you can do. First of all, I would try to get testimonials, and I would try to get testimonials on video. And here's the thing that you gotta do. You have to train your ear, okay, to hear compliments. Okay? And a lot of people have a hard time taking compliments. Sometimes I'm working with people just training them. Say thank you, okay? Now here's what you, like they don't even know what to say. Oh no, I'm not, or oh that's not, Guys, train your ear for compliments. Compliments are okay. It's a gift that's being given to you. Receive their gift, and then say this every single time. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me. Is there any way we could capture that on video? It would really help me help other people. Oh wow, it's so nice of you to say that. Is there any way we could capture that on video? It would really help me help other people. Oh, it's so nice of you to say. I mean, that means the world to me. Is there any way we can capture that on video? It would really help me help other people. If you say that enough times, you're going to get some people to say that. Pretty soon, you've got people that are saying things about you. So pretty soon, what you're doing is you're not going out exposing yourself, hey, look at me. You're saying on Facebook, social media, YouTube channel, these other places, you're saying, oh, this guy just gave me the nicest referral, nicest testimony in the world, just meant so much to me. Check it out, let me know what you think. So you're sharing all these things. It's a very simple way. What happens after you get so many testimonials, people start to say, well, geez, how can so many people be wrong? How can so many people be wrong? They love this person. So I think in the beginning, you got to look for simple ways to get exposure. There are contests out there. There are events. There are little things like chambers of commerce and meetups and things like this. And you just kind of do anything you can. You just kind of have to be assertive and just put yourself in the situation. It is tough to really get serious exposure until you really start to make some accomplishments, or until you do what? Be fascinating and intriguing. One of the things I talk about with people is how to make your presence felt. Okay? How to make your presence felt. Some people go to something and they kind of want to blend in. Think about how it is you're going to stand out. Right? There are things that I wear, there are things that I say at different times, because there are times that I want to make my presence felt. Meaning I want to be remembered. Now there are other times where I don't want to be remembered. If I go to some kind of church thing, I'm not there to be a spectacle. I'm there to blend in with the body of people and be a part of whatever's going on. But there are other times where if I'm going to speak and if I'm going to be a part of it, I got to be remembered. So I got to get up in front of people. Good answer?
Great answer.
Or great answer?
Great answer.
Or life-changing?
Life-changing. Thank you.
When now would you like to do that? Yes. No, go ahead. No, you're right there.
How do you leverage a powerful personal story with philanthropy from a PR standpoint?
Well, that's actually probably one of the easiest things to do. We represent Delta Pet Rescue. We got them on Anderson Cooper. We represent a company called Bent Star, and they actually go overseas and retrieve the remains of MIAs and POWs and bring them home so they can be laid to rest. And so we work with several charities, and I think almost every charity we've had on Fox, MSNBC. It's really just about the time of year and really making it newsworthy. This just isn't about charities, but it's about everything. But especially with charities, it's how do you tie it to the news? One of the things you've got to understand with producers is their job is to find newsworthy things. And somehow we think us putting out a book is newsworthy. That's news. It's not news. That's something nice for you, but that's not really news in the world. So really what our job to do is to find the connections, and to find things that are going on. For example, when there's a lot of fires in these houses and things like that, pets get lost and scattered across the forest. And so this Delta Pet Rescue, one of the things they do is they actually go out and find these animals and they bring them back. And one of the things that's interesting about them is they don't give them up to adopt. They keep them forever, a home forever. So it's our job then to pitch that media angle as being different. How are they different? And so guess what happens? Every time there's a fire, what's one of the things that we can talk about? So that's just one example. But we have to find the newsworthy angle. We got to find the things that are going on in the media. We got to find how to tie it to it. So what's your is it nonprofit then?
Alzheimer's Association.
Alzheimer's. Oh, geez, that's yeah. So if there's a movie where a major character has Alzheimer's, and it's a major thing, we can tie it to that. If there's somebody famous that's going through Alzheimer's and it's in the news, tie it to that. What we want to do is you don't want to just be like a press release. What you want to do is set yourself up as a guest expert. Okay, you want to be a guest expert. So what it is when you're a guest expert, they'll bring you on and you're there to talk about Alzheimer's as an expert. How does that position you? Positions you as an icon in your industry. You wouldn't be on television otherwise, right? Now, while you're on there, you can talk about and say things like, well, one thing that we do at our organization is we da-da-da-da-da-da. So you learn how to have sound bites and talking points. And even though whatever it is they ask, you answer it, but you answer it in a way that brings some focus, to your organization. And that's one of the things that helps the most. I got the chance to, the last time that I was in Forbes, we actually did an interview, and I pitched them to talk about Yahoo buying Tumblr. People kind of scratched their head and said, David, why do you want to talk about that? Well, I did a whole interview. He was very impressed with it. The whole article in Forbes was about my opinion on whether or not Yahoo bought Tumblr. What's better? Having me positioning the expert of Forbes, telling them whether or not they made a sense, or just somebody in Forbes saying Dave's a great guy and read his book? Which would you rather have? Right? The fact that they're taking my advice. So again, when you go to the media, set yourself up as the expert with talking points that can help the producers do their jobs. And their job is to get out things that people want to see and want to know about in a non-biased way. Right? If you're just there to sell yourself or promote yourself, sometimes that'll work. But what's better, what's sexier, is to help them deliver the news and be positioned as the expert. Good answer?
Yeah.
That was a great question. You like that answer, guys?
Yeah.
No, I'm being very serious here. Who here learned something about that and they can apply to their own business?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Another question? Yeah.
You kind of touched on this, but a little more specifically, how would you start trying to get on TV?
How would you start getting on TV? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so he said, how do you start getting on TV? Great question. Okay, here's the number one thing that's probably most overlooked when it comes to your business. The number one thing you can do right now to really raise your icon status, anybody know, by the way? Give you a chance? Yeah.
Either Google Hangouts or YouTube.
Maybe, kind of. She said either Google Hangouts, but no, it's a website. Here's what happens, guys. When we go talk about you, what's the first thing a producer does? They Google you. Okay? Now there's some people, they don't need to be Googled. Like we've represented people like Paul Stanley and Kiss. They don't need to Google him. He doesn't need to have a website. He already knows who he is. Okay? Everybody understands kind of who this is. But for a lot of us here, including myself, they're going to Google me. They don't know. So what do they find? It better be a good website. It better be it better be a very clean website that positions you as an icon in your industry. Okay? So your website needs to be the sun in your marketing universe. And there's different kinds of websites. Some websites are designed to sell things. Some websites are designed to collect your information and collect opt-ins. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about an icon website where the website's all about you and everything. There's testimonials about you, there's awards you've won, there's degrees you have, there's things that you've been a part of. So when they go there, you look like a rock star. Like, wow, look at this. It's very clean, it's not hype, it's not reds and yellows and underlined and all this crazy stuff. There are times for a sales site and the Dan Kennedy style copy, but this isn't it. Okay? This thing needs to look clean, pure, no hype. Okay? If you go to davidtfagan.com, great example of what an icon site should look like. Let me give you other examples. So, the number one thing, if you want to start getting on TV, develop an online presence that if they find you online, they have no idea if you're worth $100 or I'm sorry, if you're worth $1 million or $100 million. You know, they should look at that and go, wow, geez. And here's the really cool thing. It used to be if you wanted to compete with a business, you want to compete with some local jewelry store, you might have to go get a 10,000 square foot building, you got to get all, you don't have to do that anymore. Now it's just competing with websites. You could actually have a nicer website than the other place, and it looks like your business is better. So it's really about how it looks online. And again, maybe it shouldn't be that way, but that's the way it is. It's how you look online. Do you look like $1 million? You know, and the producers, they also know that if they put you on the show, what's everybody in the audience going to do? They're going to Google you. So if they Google you and they find a bunch of garbage and terrible websites and whatever, what do they think then about the network or the station, the interview? It's like, wow, this is all they can find. So like, wow, that's pretty terrible news here, right? So it's a reflection on them, right? So the better you look, the better you make them look. So one of the very first things I would do is again, concept, collect, create something online that if somebody searches you. It can be simple. It can be one page with some really professional pictures, some really cool stuff about you. It doesn't have to be a big site. It doesn't have to have all kinds of crazy features. But one page that it just makes you look like $1 million. Do you have a book?
Yes.
Yeah, the answer's really slow. Okay. Another question?
Oh, wait a minute. I don't have your zero book.
Is there a hero book?
Yeah.
You're shifting, Steve. You're shifting. Okay, I didn't see whose hand up went over here first here. Let's get her and then we'll get you really quick. We only have a couple of minutes.
You gave us lots of excuses of why you weren't successful. What would you say would be the number one thing of how you changed the curveball and how you became a success?
Okay. So number one thing, and this may not be a sexy one.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah. So she said, David, she gave us a lot of excuses, you know, on how do you say, not successful.
Right.
But ultimately, what she wants to know is then, how have I found success? What is kind of some of my secret success? Good question. We doing okay in time? You just pooped me out. Number one thing, you got to surround yourself with successful people. You know, it's said that you're the average happiness and wealth of the 5 closest people you spend the most time with. If you have people that are constantly sucking the life out of you, and bringing you down, then it's really hard to do that. You know, one of the favorite classic sayings is, it's kind of hard to soar with the eagles when you work with turkeys. And it's true. But the really tough part that most people don't get and aren't willing to do is that you got to fire, the friends and family. They're typically the worst ones. And by fire, it doesn't mean you got to have a big confrontation with them and tell them off. This is where people miss the boat. Just let them go their way. And you need to go your way. And so I spend a lot of time looking for high profit, low maintenance relationships. And I spend a lot of time avoiding high maintenance, low profit relationships. Okay? So you got to sit down and just kind of figure out what some of these people, what they are, what they look like. The other thing too is you just got to be able to fail and fail fast, and fail forward, learn from your mistakes. There's something though that I've seen with super successful people. Michael Levine talks about it a little bit. I've had a chance to work with some pretty amazing people. Probably about a year ago or so, that I had the chance to spend some time with Eva Mendes and talk a little bit about her success and things like that. And what happens is you start to draw some conclusions about successful people. And by the way, who here wants to be successful, or they want to find other people that are successful? Okay. I kind of set you up here, but that's wrong. You should have no interest in successful people. You should have no interest in success at all, quite honestly. Wake up tomorrow, get out of bed, show up. Just show up, you'll be successful. Who here wants to know how to be like explosively successful, super successful? One of those, wait, nobody answered I can stop there, I guess. No, it's true. Some people they don't, and there's a difference. And my friend and Michael Levine, he talks about having a burning, maniacal rage. People who are super successful have a burning, maniacal rage. And some people, they don't want to have that. It's too, guys, I have nights I don't sleep. I work all through the night. I'm driven. And if we had more time, I would tell you what drives me. And I would tell you how to tap what drives you, how to learn that, how to picture that, how to focus on that. Because the truth is, if you're really working hard enough, then there's going to be moments and times where you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to stop. You're going to want to quit. And it's really just that something deep inside you that you can conjure up and that you can focus on, that you can draw strength and energy from, that will allow you to keep going past that pain and allow you to do more. These are the people that become super successful. They're tormented almost. They're passionate. How many people here just have a pain in their gut because they just know they're so destined for so much more. They just can't, I mean, it hurts. They think about their dream, they think about their idea, and they're just in pain because they just can't get it out there. It's like it hurts them. Who's in pain?
Yes.
I mean, serious, who's in pain? Maybe not everybody. And that's what's so great, is because that's what makes room for the people that have the burning maniacal rage. Because most people, they don't have it. They don't have it. They're okay. Something else in life drives them. And that's all right. So you got to have that. You got to tap that. You got to reach that. These people, you know, they want it like a junkie wants drugs. What will a junkie do to get drugs?
Anything.
Do they want the drugs next week or tomorrow? Or now. Yesterday. Right? It sounds crazy, but you know, this is something I've learned. This is something I've witnessed. I know it's crazy, isn't it? Oh, okay. I thought you were kind of like, oh, these people are crazy. It's kind of insane.
I don't give a shit about tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I mean, they're just guys. I mean, I don't want to destroy any books out there, but the law of attraction without action is just a fraction. The law of attraction without action is just a fraction. Dreaming is good, doing is better. Dreaming is good, doing is better. You know, sometimes you just have to outwork everybody else. I wish it wasn't true, but that's just the way it is.
I just want to add on to one thing you said before we finish up with Mary Lou, and that's this. That it's one thing to say, oh, I'm going to surround myself with successful people, but the reality is that if, in order to break into those successful circles, you need to do what David says. Give, serve, and share. If you think you're going to go hang around super successful people, and I hate the phrase, can I take you to lunch and pick your brain? Right? You can't just go and take, right? I'm around David, I'm in David's sphere of influence, and the reason I am is because I can go to him and I can say, hey, look, I value what you bring to the marketplace. It sounds really simple, but I said to David, I don't care what you have going on, always feel free to post on my Facebook wall. I've afforded that privilege to 3 people. Happens to be Maurice and David are 2 of them. Give, serve, share. You can't just show up with successful people and take. They will eat you for lunch and they will fire you. Does that make sense? I mean, we all know those people that are like, okay, they want to get close to me because I have some success. And then it's like, oh geez, David and I talked about one today. A guy came and latched on to me and he was such a taker. I literally had my assistant send him an email and say, Casey no longer wants to talk to you because it was too draining. Show up here, the guy found David, and now is going after David. I couldn't be more thrilled. Right?
What's that like that?
That's true.
But it's just, I think it's just important to note that if you're going to want to surround yourself with higher successful people, come to the table with something. How can I help you? How can I do something for you? What can I do? Can I promote your book? Can I do your event? Can I interview you as president? Can I interview something? Make it about them. Much easier.
So we have Mary Lou here in a second, but let me just give you one last point about success, and I can give you a lot. I'll give you last point about success. It's really more about the common mistake that a lot of people make. And that is, most entrepreneurs, they're starters, they're not finishers. I know, breaking news, this just in. But they're starters. We're really good at starting things, we're not really good at finishing things. Finishing is happiness. Repeat after me. Finishing is happiness. Now, there is the secret art of quitting. You know, you got to know what to quit. No, I'm dead serious. Some people, they'll latch on to something and they'll say, I'm just going to go till I die. Guys, that's a myth. So you might say, well, David, you're kind of telling me something different. There's a secret art of quitting and knowing when to quit, but you're also telling me finishing is happiness. Which is it? Guys, I just gave you knowledge. Knowing when to apply that knowledge is wisdom. Knowing when to apply that knowledge is wisdom. Okay, and that's why people want mentors and they want someone to help them in their business, because they don't know when do I quit and when do I need to finish. So with that in mind, the entrepreneur, we try too many things. So I actually just wrote an article yesterday or the day before, I lost my track of time, but it's called My Business is Boiling. Here's the problem. If you've got water on the stove and it's heating up, you can't go and pour more water into it. What happens? It takes longer to boil. Okay? You're not making profits. You're not really cooking until that water is boiling. The bigger that pot of water, the more heat you need to cook it. If you're a solopreneur or you have a very small team, you're probably not going to be able to heat up a huge pot of water and get it to a boil. If you want to get further faster, you got to take some water out of the pan. You got to say no to some things. You got to get rid of some things. You got to get more laser-like. Unfortunately, most of us, we have more of this machine gun approach of sort of spray and pray, and hopefully I'm going to hit something here, and if I just keep shooting, and take more of the sniper approach, the laser approach. Set something in your sights and get all of your resources wrapped around it and attack it. I don't believe in long-term goals. People don't get that, like, oh, you got to have long-term goals. I don't have any long-term goals. I'm an opportunist, and I'm proud to be an opportunist. I work in power plays. I'm looking at something in the next 4 to 6 weeks. What's something in the next 4 to 6 weeks or 4 to 8 weeks that can make me money? Who can be involved? What can I sell? What can I do? What can it look like? And I go after that. While I'm doing that, opportunities will present themselves. A year ago, I didn't know, or 2 years ago, I didn't know I was going to buy LCO. I didn't know I wanted a PR company in Beverly Hills. That wasn't really on, but the opportunity presented itself. Okay, so, you'll boil faster, right? Your business will boil faster. You start cooking up profits. You get some water out of the pan, you can say no, and you be more laser-like. People like Trump and Oprah, they want to be like them, and they say, oh, look at all the things they do. Yeah, but they have millions and billions of dollars and massive teams. They can heat up a lot of water at once. Does this make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, who here thinks they got too much water in the pan? All right. So a knowledgeable man knows that some recipes call for sugar, but a wise man knows which recipes and how much. Did you hear what I said?
Yes.
Knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom. Knowing how to apply this wisdom. Very last thing here, and they're going to kick us out of here. Mary Lou.
Okay, so in the social media world,
Okay, social media world.
there's so much out there.
So much out there.
I actually was contacted by stick.com. I forgot, I didn't even remember signing up for it back in 2011.
Okay.
But when they sent me my link,
Okay.
I had 23 people on there that had done referrals and posted great reviews for me.
Okay.
That I didn't even know about. So how do I keep up with all the social media? And which would you recommend is the best to be a part of? I get overwhelmed with it, and then I shut down and go, I'm not posting nothing.
Okay, so I would have to ask you a lot of questions to help you determine which one, but the bottom line is, don't try to do it all. We do a lot on Facebook. We do a little bit on LinkedIn. I get people that say, David, you gotta do more on Twitter. Oh my goodness, Google Hangout. When I go to an event, everybody takes all these notes. I'll look for one idea. People's like, they think I didn't get enough out of the conference. I want one thing. I want one good idea. I want one good person to work with. I want one good social media outlet. It goes back to what I'm saying before. Just get laser-like. So I don't know, whatever you're most comfortable with, wherever your people are, you think about your ideal client. Where do those, and this is something I think Mike does really well. What's your ideal client, okay? Now where are they at? Right? So many people are trying to get those people to come to us. Sometimes we just got to go to them. Where are they? Go to them. Just go find them. If you can, profile them, right? A little scary. We're out here profiling clients, but profile you just go find them. So I don't know how else to answer it, other than that. But does that make sense? Yeah, I would probably drop a couple things. If you are personally the only one really working on your marketing effort in social media, and you're trying to handle 3 or 4 different accounts, it's too much. Now with me, we have anywhere from 15 to 25 interns at any given time. I create the content, I put almost all the stuff out there, but then I have a lot of my interns reposting it and resharing it. And they're funneling questions to me. They're saying, David, hop on Facebook really quick. Someone had a really good question. They want to meet with you, whatever. So I have a whole system set up that I didn't just all of a sudden have. I had to build over time. Make extra money, reinvest in the business. Make extra money, reinvest in the business. In 2007, I had 26 properties, I had 5 offices in 3 states, I lost it all. Lost it all, like a lot of people did in real estate. Had to start all over again. That summer, me and my family camped out. I did a radio show, I didn't know where I was gonna go. Tough times, tough times. I had to start with less than nothing. I owed people money, right? All you can do is just show up every day. Sometimes you gotta work for free. Sometimes you just gotta win over that testimonial. There's times where I work just for a testimonial because I knew that social proof. You wanna take everything away from me and make me go start over again in a whole other place, in a whole other industry? Just give me my social proof. You can take all my money, you can take everything else about it, you can take all my resources and just drop me off in New Zealand, drop me off anywhere in the world and just say, try again. And as long as I can point to those testimonials and I can point to those awards and I can point to those books and I can point to those media, I can rebuild it all. So are you really trying to get clients as much? Yeah. But when you can't get a client, settle for social proof. When you can't get a client, settle for social proof.
This is a quick question.
Do we have time for a quick question? Someone's trying to sneak in a quick question?
Very quick.
We gotta wrap it up. We have to wrap it up. We want to be fair to our
I'll
hosts
stay
here.
after a little bit if you guys have some other
Definitely.
questions.
So, ladies and gentlemen, David Fagan, ladies and gentlemen.